Actually, yeah.
This is a test run to see if the microphone is. We're holding the microphone up to my mouth. We'll see if it works.
That was kind of the beginning of, it's not been very, yeah, it must have been 2000, yeah.
Because then we went in 2001.
That's right, yeah. That's right, so, but I went, one time I went and we stayed like a week in Bellafitrish and then a week at Mrs. McLennan's. And that was the year of the eclipse. So,
talk loud.
Sorry, that was the year of the eclipse.
The sun or the moon?
The sun. So maybe that was 1999? That was
Probably,
99, yeah. So,
So that was the only time you went just with Mum and Dad?
No, we've done that before. Because they were really sweet because we were impoverished, you know, for quite a few years, and they treated us, you know, they you know, we didn't have to pay for anything. It was really nice. So we went. It was really lovely. So I think I started going out with Johnny in '95. My God. I think. Yeah. And so we probably went almost every year till '99. Kind of. And then 2000 was the year when we went on our own because they couldn't come. And then 2001 was the one when we all went. Yeah, and that was really lovely, wasn't it? That 2001 was tip-top.
Terrible. Where did we stay?
That was
Mrs.
McLennan's, yes.
Mrs. McLennan's. That was a lovely holiday, wasn't it? Yeah.
May I test this now?
Yeah. See you
about going.
That trip.
Because we had a white van
yes.
and a black van the second time.
Yeah.
And then
another white van. Yeah. And do you remember the third time? There was problems about we got the length of the van wrong.
We ended up getting a really big one?
No, we did. It wasn't.
Well, they let us on.
Yeah, but the ferry I'd booked for the wrong. It was a bigger van than I told the ferry. So on the way, I didn't tell everybody. But when we were on ferry, I wasn't actually sure if we were going to get off on the way back. Get off the island.
I think you told me though.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah,
because
yeah.
I think did we tell them?
But we didn't want to worry everybody.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the second time was the cool black van.
Right.
That was very cool. The Mercedes. Yeah.
It was small though.
Yeah, yeah. The first time was a bit of a struggle, space-wise.
It was like a transit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lydia, every time Lydia and Celia had played inside the van, like it's their little house or den or something.
Yeah.
What about Susan? What about you?
What about me?
What did you like? What's your first memory of Tyree?
My first memory was.
Or some of them.
Well, I was getting off the van with everybody, and watching.
Getting off the van.
Well, no. I mean, getting. Well, the whole boat experience it reminded me of my times going to my grandfather's island in Croatia. It was a very, very similar experience, and and that helped me understand how meaningful the whole journey was for the Purkis family. That you were taking this special trip, and it was very beautiful. I just remember wanting to watch every bit of scenery that went by as we traveled toward the island, and getting there, I can hardly remember because all the different visits blend together, but it was, it was kind of fascinating, the terrain, and the people, and all of that.
And Lydia and Celia had a great time. They really, really loved Tyree, didn't they? And we read The Little Seaweed Man.
And we all cried.
I had to read it, and I was
That's right.
choking up.
What,
We're talking about The Little Seaweed Man.
Yeah, he's in the bathroom.
Yeah. Harry's okay, yeah. That was so lovely because that was about Celia and Lydia, wasn't it? Oh God,
Was that before they were? Did she write that before they were born?
No. Oh, that was really. And then we also put on some plays.
Yes, we did.
Was that the one in the second place?
No, the first play we put on was Rumpelstiltskin. I think that was possibly the best one actually. That was
really good. I remember Lydia. She said this thing. Remember, it was really funny.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, about something like being bad or something.
Yeah, and stamping her foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was really good.
Dad's coming, I can hear him. What, Mum?
You're warm.
And enter Harry.
Sage left.
Get past me. Get past me.
Okay, let me go.
I'm letting you go.
So what should we do about Pat being warm?
Should we take your coat off, Pat?
I'll do it.
Okay. How lovely it was. And with the girls, Celia and Lydia, and how much they loved it.
Of course, Harry's memories of Tyree go back even farther.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take this off for you.
1972.
Stand up.
1972. Okay, let me plug this in.
Okay.
So that was the first time you went?
That was the first time I went, yeah.
Yeah.
1972. Tell us what
It was like, I mean, well, why did you choose to go there?
Well, because previous summer we were on holiday in the island at the moment, remember? And we were talking to some people and asking questions of different ones. And they told us about Tyree. We asked more questions, and we thought it looked like a possibility for all of these. So we tried to find out information. But the interesting thing is that we went to, and anyway, I'll get that.
That's talking. Let's sit down, okay?
Yeah, because it's distracting.
Just can we stop a minute? Mum,
Okay, I'll
Mum
stop.
would talk.
Nice thing.
It is a nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you were talking about some people who had recommended Tyree to you, and then you said, well, the interesting thing was, do you remember what that was about Tyree?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Well, there was a people on Mull who told us about Tyree, and we decided to try to find accommodation, which we did eventually. And we wrote off the details, but the lady I spoke to, they didn't have any accommodation for the weeks that we wanted. So that was that. And we didn't hear anything more for quite a few weeks. And then we got a letter from the lady who owned Seaview.
Ah,
Which-
Seaview, yeah.
And she was writing to say that the people who had Seaview had given that word, and somebody cancelled their holiday. And would we like to take it on? So we obviously said yes. And it was, she offered us the castle for 4 weeks. For 4 weeks. It was a ridiculous price. I think she only charged about £7 a week or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Can you help me a bit?
And,
Can you help me a bit?
Okay.
okay, pal.
So you said the interesting thing was,
We had, after that first time there, we had 72, 74, 76 in Tyree.
wow, all those years. Was this before you had children, or?
It was before, yes. No, they were quite small at that time.
Yeah. Did you always go to the Seaview?
Well, eventually we went to some of the other ones because some of the accommodation was blown up, not blown up, just they had there's no accommodation, so we had to look elsewhere, which we did.
Right.
So in later days we actually went to quite a few different ones and kept going back to different ones. The other thing for me was that those few years when we were still going to Tyree, I was doing some work for another degree, and started it beginning of the holidays, and eventually times passed, and on the 19, was it? I think it was 17th, one of the third of the holidays anyway. And while we were in Tyree, I did some work for this degree, and eventually did all the studying, and while we were there for the third holiday, got the phone coming, and it brought with it my 76, and the 76 was when I got the result, and so we had the 3 holidays then. Then after that we kept going for quite a number of years. Sometimes we had children with us, and our friends would take the girls, like they do now really. So that was a bit. We also hired bikes while we were there for some of the holidays, and we also went out on we did some writing as well. So we did quite a lot of various activities.
Mm-hmm. How did you come to choose Kalis as your favorite?
Well, it's just that the house where we've been, the accommodation we had for that particular time, they'd been booked up and we couldn't get in anywhere. And then again, some more accommodation worked out for us. So we stayed in that house.
Mrs. McLennan's.
Yeah, that's right. Then we went to elsewhere as well. And that's what happened really. We took quite a lot of people from either relatives or relatives.
Oh, you took relatives with you?
Yes.
Oh. Get rid of some of the extra noise. So which relatives went with you?
Well, there were our little group, and another group from another family, because obviously we wouldn't have many people actually staying for a very long time. But anyway, we were looking to get in there. And we had friends of the girls, the friend who
I think Sibby went once.
Sibby went, yes, that's right. And Claire and Elizabeth's friend, a lady called Emma.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, Emma. Anyway, they came with us on holiday.
Well, the Purkis family has a reputation for easily jumping into very cold sea waters. How did you get that reputation?
I don't know really. I suppose people who might have seen us and wondered what they were doing. The sea there is fairly cold even in the summer, and presumably where some people found the accommodation.
What do you like the most about Tyree?
course.
Of all the things about it.
Yeah, I think the fact that it just eventually becomes, the sea does become a bit warm. So the main thing I think we think about is just the peace and quiet of the place, and enjoy that. Whereas somebody else might go completely different reason.
Yes, there aren't very many people around, which
Mm.
is very, very nice. Yes. So, what do you think about the fact that now all of your grandchildren know and love Tyree?
Mm.
That must make you feel good.
Yes, that's right. I think so.
Yeah.
It's nice to sort of pass on information and things like that. We'll obviously can have discussions with everybody, and I think that's really the reason.
Do you want to stop here and we can share stories tomorrow and then other stories will come to mind?
Yes, okay.
Okay, thank you.
So, let me just think what I was going to say. One incident we remember quite clearly was this was back to 1972, and one day we were, I think we'd been woken up by something, probably a car, I don't know, but this particular occasion, we heard all this noise all morning, and
So we woke up to the sound of a car and a lot of noise.
and then we looked out to the front door, and there's some quite noticeable flags and things like that, tied to things like that. We found out later, quite a long time later, that they'd been put around along the road, and we not spoke to him for quite a while, and we were told by Mr. McLean, who was the owner of Seaview, that the flags and that tied to these posts, and they said, a tree, not a tree, found out that in fact he was getting wedding that day, and he was putting the flags out and things like that.
Oh, nice.
But little thing that very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. That was Johnny who just came in for just a second. Oh, has Tyree changed much since 1962?
Not a lot really, no. The road's a lot better. Facilities like that. And what else?
Yes.
Shopping is a lot easier. They have a coat, you know.
It's better, yeah. Okay, well, shall we stop then and pick it up tomorrow? Oh, we're kind of close. And
the one where, there's the one where Lizzie's foot, she got hurt her foot.
The doctor called it a flip or something like that.
Okay.
Whereas the lip of the so I can't explain it. A place where she cut it with a piece of glass. it wasn't all that serious, and there's no wheels or anything like that.
Right.
The doctor called it a flap or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, a flap. Yeah.
There was that, and then there was...
Wasn't there a time when the car, something to do with the car, or there was something to do with getting the ferry, and you all had to run to the ferry, or what was that?
That was it. It was when we were at Steve Hill, actually, and for some reason or other, we were late. We were getting late anyway. Anyway, we were sort of had your checking the ferry to see if it was coming. And he was coming, and we realised we had to get our freights on.
Oh, right. To get it.
So we got on.
Right.
And he was one of the older back brains ferries in those days. It wasn't really very speedy, and it's quite old-fashioned.
Right.
Anyway, we managed to get...
So it was a bit of a rush.
Bit of a rush
To get there, yeah.
After all that relaxing,
and
then you have to rush.
Yeah.
it was interesting because years later, in the 60s, sorry, 80 I think, we nearly missed the ferry because can't remember.
Didn't you hurt yourself? There was you hurt yourself or something?
No, I did a really bad abscess on my face.
Oh, yeah.
Inside my face.
Ooh, right.
It's quite nasty, really. And I had to get to bed and took some tablets and things like that.
Right.
It was...
So did you go and see the doctor?
Yes.
Yeah.
What were the ferries like in the early 70s?
Well, for a start, you had to, when you had to ring your vehicle up onto the deck, so fastened to it, and it went up, and then it dropped down.
Like on a crane sort of lifted it?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, right.
And it was quite primitive, really.
Were there many people going on holiday in those days?
No, not really.
Not
No.
really, no.
I don't think people had discovered Tyree then.
No.
Did the ferry stop at other places along the way then?
Yes, they did. Quite a few of them. They hardly stop anywhere else now.
Yeah. Used to stop in Mull, didn't it?
Yes, well, yes.
Yeah. So you were one of the first people to discover it, really. Yeah.
Who are the Tyree people that you most remember who were from Tyree, I mean? I mean, there's Mrs. McLennan. You knew her. Her husband's dead, right?
No,
Oh, he's not.
Mrs. McLean, no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hang on. There's Angus McLean. There's Angus
Yes.
McLean, and his wife died.
Ah, okay.
And that he was the owner of Seaview. So we still go and see Mr. McLean, don't we?
Oh.
And then Mrs. McLean, they've been staying with. When did you just get?
Taylor's.
When did you just go to her house? How did you?
I think the first time we stayed was in 1957, I think.
Okay.
It was...
So you know those two. Are there other people there who you knew from long ago who are still there?
Yes.
Who are some of those people, if you can remember? Yes, if you can remember.
So actually, I'm not sure which ferry was, but one of the ferries in recent years, we had ferry contacts, and Jonathan, I don't know where he'd been, but he was travelling on the ferry, and he got talking to somebody on the ferry, and it was one of the ferrymen, and I think I know the meals on the ferry seemed to be better on the new ferry.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
right. Yes. How long did it used to take? Longer?
Well, it was about 5 hours.
5 hours.
Mm.
So it's gone down to about
Maybe 3 or 2.5.
I'd say about maybe more like 4, but I'm not sure.
Yes, because he had to stop at various places.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you had to be quite committed to going. Yeah. So did you ever go back to Seaview, or was that the end time?
Yes.
Oh, you
I
did?
had a few later.
Yeah. Must have been lovely to stay there for a month.
Yes.
That's right, yeah. What other beaches do you like?
Well, we talked about
We've
Kalis.
talked about,
Well, just about Kalis.
Kalis, right. Are there any other beaches that you really love, or places that you love?
Well, there are quite a few, aren't there, really?
Yeah.
There's the one that we've gone to a lot, actually, is one at Bow, near the pottery.
Yes, that's beautiful.
That was a nice one, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite always a bit windy, but
Yeah.
it's huge, isn't it? Yeah. And Pat likes Scott Bay, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you always be cooking your own meals and taking packed lunches and so forth?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have actually opened one or two cafes or restaurants on Tyree now, but it's still taking your own food.
Right. Claire remembers that very fondly. You're always packing food and things.
Another interesting thing was the Kalis. It's quite an old house, and one of the things you had to do if you were staying there was there was a hand pump to pump water up.
Really?
And yes.
Is that Seaview or?
Seaview, yes.
Seaview, right. Gosh.
Did you ever have any run-ins with sheep?
Not to that place. I remember being chased by one. It was a different island altogether.
Oh, I see.
I think Bru's been headbutted.
Oh my.
At one at Milton, I think. Milton. Really feisty sheep.
One interesting thing about it is that you know that in Tyree you have not many wild animals, but one which is there is quite a lot of hares.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting is there aren't any hares on and I know there were quite a lot of hares, but no rabbits. I knew anybody who could explain why.
Yes.
Because they're very similar.
Yeah. I suppose, islands. you know, it's quite. I suppose maybe people import them, don't they? Sometimes.
That can happen,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done any bird watching on Tiree?
Well, it's quite, I suppose, in a way, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been interested in birds.
Mm. Have you seen corncrakes? Oh.
No, I've heard them.
Yes. I've never seen one either.
Mm.
Yeah, you hear them there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Maybe you could tell me something about Tiree that's interesting geographically, or in terms of its terrain or
Yes.
position, you know, in the sea.
Well, to begin with, the main thing is that the terrain, the landscape, is quite different from most of them because there are no really high hills or mountains there. It's quite flat, and a lot of the land is either very rocky or it's to do with the sands where the sand is drifted on to the land and it ends up almost going from one side to the other side of the island.
Isn't the Macaire?
The Macaire.
Is that sandy soil?
Yes, it is.
But it's meant to be quite fertile, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's got lovely flowers on it.
Oh, it has.
I didn't realise the sand is quite good for soil. It makes it quite fertile.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think that people cultivate it, they get they can go around, you know, and they can if they want to, they can mix the two things together,
Right.
the sand and the clay kind of.
Yeah. They use seaweed as well, don't they?
Yes, they do.
I think that's quite a big thing.
Why are there no trees on Tiree? Or very few?
Basically, it's just too windy. They tried it years ago. They tried it out with trying to develop bulbs like they have seen in Holland.
Oh, really? Like tulips? Or?
Tulips.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't last long because of the wind.
Oh.
And another thing they tried as well was conies. Ponies, I mean. And they sometimes they were
The ponies, yeah. Gone home.
they tried out pony trekking.
Oh, yeah.
They might still do it.
They do.
Yeah, they do,
Yeah.
But some people took their own.
Yeah. And didn't they have a knitting factory?
Knitting factory.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's on Cotton Bay. There's a building which looks like a church. Well, it is actually like a church.
Yes.
But it's I don't know why, but they closed it and they opened this fitting factory.
Yeah.
And you recognise it if you ever go there.
Is it a B&B now?
Yes, it is.
It is, yeah,
The-
Purkis house or
Oh,
something.
yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yes. And also you remember the windsurfing and things like that, which are modern things now.
Yes, sort of new things that have come.
Have you ever been to Tiree in the winter?
No.
No. no point in going.
We've talked about it too.
I've been in September.
What was it
Very
like?
windy, very, very
Really?
windy.
Oh, there you were.
We went. I think it was this time you couldn't come, Harry. And I remember just like walking into the wind and being slightly worried about it actually, slightly sort of going up Dun Caylus, and just being a little bit anxious, It was but that was it wasn't bad the whole time, but just quite windy. But we do always there's always some bad weather, isn't there?
Pass over.
Yeah. Well, I know the story we haven't told. When we went to the meteorological centre.
Oh, that was
Yeah. Okay, I'll we a family friend, a very good sort of friend of ours she was in the Women's Royal Air Force during the war, and she was based on Tiree, and in fact there's a photograph of her in the Hebrides at War book, so which is kind of amazing to find that. Anyway, because that was the first time I went to Tiree. I was really interested because she told me a lot about it, and she's died sort of a long time ago, and I kind of. So anyway, we had a look around all the Nissen huts and all the old sort of base, the air base and things like that. And there was a few, you can definitely see the remnants of where they were during the Second World War. And basically, my friend Sheila was. They had a meteorological section of the Women's Royal Air Force, and they were basically just finding out what the weather was like for flying, for all the RAF. And so I managed to blag our way into at that point there used to be a meteorological station in Tiree, and I managed to blag our way into it with this story about my friend, and they let us in, didn't they? And so Harry, me, and Pat went. Johnny stayed in the car. He was kind of a bit shy, and we had to look round, and they showed us all the instruments and all the.
Neat.
So that was because Tiree is on the shipping forecast, and it's and they mentioned that Tiree, that's the weather where they get all the readings from.
Right. Yeah.
But unfortunately, a few years ago, they closed it, so it's no longer manned. But it's like an automatic one. It's an automatic weather station, and they. So now on the shipping forecast, instead of saying Tiree blah 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 blah, it says Tiree automatic. Blah 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 blah. So we were there just before it closed. So that was quite fun, wasn't it? That was good. Yeah. I thought another story that you told me was about them getting the milk. You used to get the milk in. Where did you used to get it from? Salem? No. Was it Salem? You used to get the sort of milk direct from the farm.
Yes, it was the first time we went.
Yeah.
And inquired about availability of milk.
Yes.
And one of the ladies who on her croft often had spare milk, and so I used to go every tea time, go around to the farm where she was.
Yes.
And just leave some milk on the table and paid her and went back home again.
Oh. So she used to bring it to you?
No, I used to fetch it.
Oh, you used to go and fetch it, right. Where was the farm?
That was, was it Salem?
Salem. Yeah, because I think when we go on our walk to Vole, we walk past it, don't we?
Yes.
Yes, because that's, yeah. But did that keep going for a few years, or was that, did you do that for a few years?
The lady at the farm, she died a years ago.
Right.
It's quite old, actually.
Oh, that's nice.
To get it going, I think.
Okay.
Yes, you better get to it, yes, because it's